Psalm 56. Be merciful unto me, O God, for man would swallow me up. He fighting daily oppresseth me. Mine enemies would daily swallow me up. For they be many that fight against me, O thou most high. In God I will place his word. In God I have put my trust. I will not fear what flesh can do unto me. Every day they wrest my words. All their thoughts are against me for evil. They gather themselves together. They hide themselves. They mark my steps when they wait for my soul. Shall they escape by iniquity? In thine anger cast down the people, O God. Okay. So this psalm is Psalm 56 to the chief musician upon Jonathan Elimelech Kokim Michtam of David when the Philistines took him in Gath. And so David realizes that people are after his life, that their word is going against his, and that their words are very negative against him. Every day they wrest my words, he says. All of their thoughts are against me for evil. So everything that they're thinking about him is for evil. Everything that they're saying about him is for evil, and they're turning his words into something that that is something that they'll criticize and they'll attack. They gather themselves together. They hide themselves. They mark my steps. So they're meeting to talk about it. They're hiding, to try to evade any consequence for what they're doing, and they're marking his steps. That means they're following him, and they're just recognizing where he's going to go. So they're following him, like laying in wait for him. It says, when they mark my steps, when they wait for my soul, as if they want to kill him. Okay, shall they escape by iniquity? So the sin is theirs, and then David is asking God, shall they escape? Are they going to be able to get away with this, God? Are they, the things that they're planning, the things that they're saying, the things that they are doing to him to mark his steps, to wait to kill him? Are they going to be able to get away with it? Shall they escape by iniquity? Iniquity is sin. So shall they escape? Are they going to get away by iniquity? In thine anger cast down the people, O God. And so we see, David asking for God's anger to be poured out on those people who are lying in wait for his life, for those people who are waiting to attack him with their words, with their planning, with their scheming, with their hiding, laying in wait for his soul, waiting to kill him, or devising plans to harm him. He said, even in the first verse, be merciful unto me, O God, for thou wouldst swallow me up. He fighting daily oppresseth me. So people are oppressing him every day. He's going up against a lot of contention. He's going up against a lot of adversity, and there are many who are every day they wrest my words. All of their thoughts are against me for evil. Everything they think about him is against him for evil. This is David. This is the King David. So he asked for God's anger. In thine anger cast down the people, O God. Thine anger cast down the people, O God. Thou tellest my wanderings. You know exactly where I'm going. Put my tears into thy bottle. Are they not in thy book? So thou tellest my wanderings. Put thou my tears into thy bottle. Are they not in my book? As if every tear that he's cried, that God has bottled them up. He describes it that way, that every tear is, and I think I've thought about this a lot about through my life, the tears that I've cried, that God keeps them in his bottle. Are they not in your book? And another translation says, are they not in your record? So God, who has recorded every tear that David has cried, is a compassionate God, is a loving God. It's like he's bottled up his tears. It's like he's bottled up my tears. It's like he's kept a record of them. He knows exactly how many tears that David has cried. He knows exactly how many tears that I've cried. And So when we go to God, when people are coming against us in attacks and in anger and in wresting our words and in following our every move and plotting, how do we approach God here? David's example, it was, shall they escape? Should he just be able to get away with this, in his sin? Like, should these people escape in their iniquity? In thine anger, cast down the people, O God. You ask God to get angry. You ask God to get mad over this, to cast him down so they can't do unjust things to him. Okay? Thou tellest my wanderings. This is verse 8, 56, Psalm 56, 8. Thou tellest my wanderings. Put thou my tears into thy bottle. Are they not in thy book? It's one of my favorite scriptures because it reminds me that any sadness that I feel, that any tears that I cry are in the record of God, or in the bottle of God, are remembered by God himself. When an injustice occurs, when things that are harmful are occurring to the people of God, that David gave an example of asking for God to get angry at that so that he would be defended in just ways. Okay? When I cry unto thee, then shall mine enemies turn back. This I know, for God is for me. I'll read it again, verse 9. When I cry unto and 10. When I cry unto thee, then shall my enemies turn back. This I know, for God is for me. In God I will praise his word. In the Lord I will praise his word. Okay? So when he cries out to God, it's not just that unjust things, are happening and then there's an expected recompense for that. It's that he cried out to God and he asked for it. He asked for God to come for him and to take care of him and to be angry for him, for justice, all right, to protect him. When I cry out to God, yeah, when I cry unto thee, then shall mine enemies turn back. So when I cry unto thee, when you cry to God, then that's when your enemies will turn back. Okay? That's when your enemies turn back. This I know, for God is for me. That's the confidence that we have when we're doing the right thing, when we are walking in the right way, when we are in love with the word of God, when we are praising God in his word, when we're meditating on his word day and night, when we're just stuck with his word in our head, his words in our head. Our desires are for God and not for mankind. In God I will praise his word. In the Lord I will praise his word. In God I have put my trust. I will not be afraid what man can do unto me. So David's confidence is that when he cries out to God, his enemies will turn back. David's confidence is that he knows this, that God is for him, that the God of gods, the creator of the universe, the creator of him and his enemies, the one who knows everything, the one who's kept record even of every tear that he's cried, he is for David, okay? So when I cry unto thee, then shall my enemies turn back. This I know, for God is for me. In God I will praise his word. Stay in the word. In the Lord I will praise his word. In God I have put my trust. And he's not using the words of God and the scriptures for his own benefit. He's using them in God himself. Okay, does that make sense? Not that that you wouldn't use the scriptures for your own personal gain, or just to maybe thump someone into thinking like you, or to doing what your will is. But in God I will praise his word, because he's in God. He praises the words of God, and in the Lord I will praise his word. In God I've put my trust. He puts all of his trust fall. Just imagine that, that you can just completely put your trust in God. And even though your enemies are obviously his enemies are, attacking his every words, every thought they have, these things are against him. They're marking his steps. They're following him. He's being followed. He's being stalked like prey. Okay? And they're the predators, these enemies of him. In God, I have put my trust. I will not be afraid what man can do unto me. And David was no stranger to death itself. And you've seen the stories, perhaps, of David's battles with death. And he has been surrounded by people who are both being killed and war, and there are all these things that has surrounded his life, that he is no stranger to death, and he knows that they could end him, but God is for him. Okay? In God I have put my trust, even though these people are after his life. In the Lord I will praise his word. In God I have put my trust. I will not be afraid what man can do unto me. He's done some things unto men. He knows what men can do to another man. He knows, but he is not afraid. I will not be afraid what man can do unto me. Thy vows are upon me, O God. I will render praises unto thee. That means God's made him promises. That means he remembers when God made him the anointed one, when he anointed him as king. He doesn't forget God's words. He doesn't say, oh, that never happened and you won't come through for me, God. He says, in God I put my trust. I will not be afraid what man can do unto me. Thy vows, his promises, thy vows are upon me. Thy vows are upon me. O God, I will render praises unto thee, for thou hast delivered my soul. Some things can be done to the body that cannot be done to the soul. Okay? Thou hast delivered my soul from death. Wilt thou not deliver my feet from falling? He's delivered his soul from death. In eternity, he knows that his place is secure in God, in the heavens. He knows that his heart belongs to God and that he is in right relationship with God. God has delivered David's own soul from death. So, what's easier, to deliver a soul from death or to keep his feet from falling? Okay, so verse 13, for thou hast delivered my soul from death, wilt not thou deliver my feet from falling, that I may walk before God in the light of the living. And I'm sorry I did that. That's kind of childish. If you're not a child, then that may be off-putting. But I was just showing you what it meant, like to walk, okay? So, for thou hast delivered my soul from death. Okay, that's what he's done for David. Wilt not thou deliver my feet from falling? Can't God keep you in this world? Won't God deliver you in this world? Keep you from falling, keep you from stumbling. Lead me not into temptation, but deliver me from evil. Or lead me not into temptation. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from the evil one. Okay? Wilt not thou deliver my feet from falling, that I may walk? There's a purpose to that. Okay? Not just to deliver his feet from falling, but so that he could walk before God in the light of the living. So while he's on this earth, while he has this chance to live his life, he can walk. He can take steps in the light of the living. Before his soul has been delivered from death, before he loses his life. Do you understand how important it is to walk before God in the light of the living? That we have just a bit of time on this earth, and God can deliver us, to give us more time to walk before God in the light of the living. And that's what I want you to do, is to walk before God in the light of the living. If you need deliverance from anything, if you need deliverance from yourself, if you need deliverance from the enemy, if you need deliverance from anyone who's after you, I just want to speak encouragement to you to look to Psalm 56 and to remember David's words, to remember that God is a deliverer, to remember that God is for you. You have to live a righteous life, that you have to walk in the light. Okay? Walk in the light in the land of the living. That's your encouragement. Thank you.